The village of Eldenbrook was known for many things: its golden wheat fields that swayed like gentle waves, its quiet stream that sang across polished stones, its cottages with red roofs and chimneys puffing little clouds into the sky. But above all, Eldenbrook was known for the enormous boulder that sat at the village entrance. No one knew how the boulder got there. Some said it rolled down during a storm long ago. Others claimed giants once walked the valley and dropped it there like a forgotten pebble. But one thing was certain: the boulder was too big, too heavy, and too stubborn to move. It blocked the old pathway that led to the orchard hills, where the sweetest plums grew. Long ago, villagers took that path every day. But now, the boulder forced everyone to take a longer, rougher road around the hills, adding hours to their daily chores. People complained, of course. They talked about how inconvenient it was. But after so many years, they accepted it as part of life. Everyone except a boy named Aaron. Aaron was 12 years old, small for his age and quiet by nature, with dark hair that kept falling over his calm brown eyes. He wasn't the strongest boy in the village, nor the most talkative, nor the most adventurous. But he had something the others didn't: an unshakable belief that kindness, simple, honest kindness, could fix things no one else bothered to fix. One crisp morning, Aaron sat on the fence near the village gate, watching as two elderly women approached the boulder, baskets in hand. They stared at it, sighed, and turned toward the long path instead. Their backs stooped from years of extra walking. Aaron felt a tug in his chest. If only this wasn't here, he murmured. The boulder simply sat there, indifferent, like it had for decades. Aaron hopped off the fence and walked over to it. He pressed both palms against its cold surface. It didn't budge, not even a shiver. He pushed harder. Nothing. He leaned his shoulder into it. It didn't even acknowledge his existence. Anyone else might have walked away. But Aaron didn't. Not because he thought he was strong enough, he knew he wasn't, but because he couldn't stand to see the village quietly suffer when maybe, just maybe, something could be done. Aaron walked home, deep in thought. That night at dinner, he spooned stew onto his plate while his father talked about the coming harvest and his mother worried about winter blankets that needed mending. "Papa," Aaron asked suddenly, "why didn't anyone ever try to move the boulder again?" His father looked up, puzzled. "We tried, long before you were born. Even the strongest men of Eldenbrook couldn't shift it. No use wasting time on it now." "But, what if it could be moved?" Aaron asked. His father chuckled kindly. "Then it would have been moved already." Aaron lowered his gaze but didn't speak again. His parents exchanged a glance. They knew their son's determined streak. Later that night, while the village slept beneath a blanket of stars, Aaron quietly slipped outside. He stood before the boulder once more, hands tucked behind his back. "I know I can't lift you," he whispered. "But maybe I can try a different way." He walked around it, kicking at the soil. After several minutes, he realized something. The ground on the left side of the boulder sloped downward, forming a narrow wedge of soft dirt. It gave him an idea. The next morning, while other children played in the fields, Aaron fetched a wooden shovel from his shed. The handle was splintered, and the blade was chipped, but it would do. He returned to the boulder and began digging, slowly, steadily, scooping out soil from the lower side to loosen the earth. People passed by, puzzled. "Aaron, what are you doing?" asked Mr. Hale, who delivered milk. "Digging," Aaron replied. "For what?" "For the boulder." Mr. Hale blinked in confusion. "The boulder? You think you're going to move it?" "No," Aaron said honestly. "But I think I can help it move." Mr. Hale scratched his beard and walked off, muttering something about young dreams. But Aaron kept digging. His hands blistered, and sweat dripped down his nose. Hours passed. A few children stopped to watch. A few adults shook their heads sympathetically. No one offered to help, not because they didn't like Aaron, but because they believed his effort was pointless. By evening, Aaron had carved a deep trench around part of the boulder. Exhausted, he trudged home, ate silently, washed up, and fell asleep. The next day, he returned. And the day after. And the day after that. Some villagers started calling him Aaron the Digger. Others warned him he was wasting precious energy. But Aaron continued without complaint, fueled not by pride but by a deep desire to ease the burdens of others. About a week later, the trench was deep enough for the boulder's base to be exposed on one side. Aaron knelt in the dirt, brushing away the soil. Then he noticed something important. The bottom of the boulder wasn't perfectly round. It had a ridge, an uneven line of rock that, if pushed from the right angle, might help it tilt. Aaron stood, heart racing. Maybe he wasn't strong enough to lift a boulder, but perhaps he didn't need to. Perhaps he only needed to nudge it. He placed both hands against the higher side, planted one foot behind him for leverage, and pushed. At first, nothing happened. He pushed harder. Then, a groan. Not from Aaron, but from the earth itself. A trembling, shifting sound. Aaron gasped. He pushed again, using every ounce of strength he had. The boulder moved, only slightly, but enough for him to know it could move. He sprinted into the village square, shouting, "It moved! It moved!" The boulder moved. But people only patted his shoulder kindly, the way adults do when they think a child is imagining things. Frustrated but not defeated, Aaron decided to prove it. The next morning, he returned with a thick rope he'd borrowed from the barn. He tied it around the boulder's ridge. He then created a pulley using a sturdy branch, some stones, and gravity, something he'd once read about in an old storybook. When the adults saw him climbing the tree with a rope wrapped around his waist, they panicked. "Aaron! Get down from there," his mother cried. But Aaron called back, "Please trust me. I know what I'm doing." The villagers gathered, watching anxiously. Aaron secured the rope, climbed down, wiped sweat from his brow, and said, "If everyone pulls together, it will move." The villagers looked unsure. But something in Aaron's determined eyes stirred them. One by one, they stepped forward, Mr. Hale, the baker, the tailor, the carpenter, the children who played marbles, even old Mrs. Laurie who always complained about her aching back. They grabbed the rope. Aaron counted, 1, 2, 3, pull. The rope stretched. The villagers heaved. The tree branch creaked. The earth rumbled. And then, with a sound like thunder muffled beneath the soil, the boulder rolled. Just a little. But enough. Cheers erupted. The villagers stared in disbelief. It moved. It actually moved. Aaron was right. Their voices rose in excitement. With renewed energy, they pulled again. And again. And again. The boulder rolled further each time, leaving a deep trail in the dirt. Finally, after nearly an hour, the giant rock tumbled off the old pathway and settled harmlessly beside a cluster of bushes. The orchard path was once again open. The villagers stood in stunned silence, staring at the clear road. It was Mrs. Laurie who spoke first, wiping tears from her eyes. "That boy, he lifted a boulder. Not with strength, but with heart." Aaron stood there, hands dirty, hair messy, cheeks flushed, but beaming. Not because he felt proud, but because he saw the joy on everyone's faces. Because the elderly could walk again without pain. Because the children had an easier route to gather fruit. Because the village was connected once more. The next day, the villagers gathered to celebrate. They cooked sweet pies, roasted corn, and decorated the pathway with ribbons. They placed a small wooden sign beside the boulder, which read, "Moved not by force, but by kindness. Aaron of Eldon Brook." Aaron blushed when he saw it. Over the next weeks, many people approached him, asking how he knew to dig, to use ropes, to ask for help. Aaron always answered the same way. I didn't know everything. I just knew I had to try. But what changed Eldenbrook forever wasn't the open path, it was the spark Aaron had lit within the people. They began helping each other more. Fixing broken fences together. Sharing tools. Teaching children patiently. Listening more kindly. Everyone said the village felt lighter, as if Aaron hadn't just lifted a boulder, but a weight from their hearts. Years later, when Aaron grew into a young man, people still told the story of the day a small boy did something no one believed possible. Children who walked the orchard path whispered to newcomers. Do you see that boulder? A boy lifted it once. But not with muscles, with kindness. And the story lived on, carried by the wind that brushed through Eldenbrook, reminding everyone who passed that nothing was too heavy when many hands, and one brave heart, worked together. Would you like image prompts for this story with consistent character looks?